Platinum trophy. I have done everything in this game. It's so good. I have issues with the story, but it is so goddamn much fun to play this game. Platinum trophy. Heck yeah. Hey guys, welcome back to whatever this is, and today I want to talk about clearly what is Final Fantasy VII in front of me, and my lovely shirt. So, for this episode, I actually have finished the Final Fantasy VII Remake a while ago before this recording. And I've had quite a bit of time to actually sit and think about it. Now, do I like the remake? Yes. Enough that I platinumed it. Its combat is excellent. Some of the best combat, as I love the strategy of it, is you kind of got to set yourself up, especially when you're starting to play on hard mode. You need to set yourself up before the battle starts, so you need to know weaknesses and strategies. Maybe you need to put like an absorption armor on so that when they use fire, you heal yourself. So you can use their attacks in your benefit. Great combat system. It's a wonderful game if you haven't played it. I will pick up a physical copy eventually. It's just when everything went into lockdown, I really needed a game to play, and that was the game. And I ended up spending about 3 weeks platinuming the game, which is actually quite a bit of time to actually get the platinum. The one thing I would say is it's easily 2 full playthroughs. What I did is I played it on easy, and then I played it on hard. So I had a good idea of what was upcoming and how to strategize against them, as the game actually does have quite a bit of strategy. When it comes to the platinum of Final Fantasy VII, it's a slog. It's not hard once you know what you're doing. I enjoyed it, but it is quite tiring to actually sit there and do it, because you end up having to watch a lot of the same scenes play out in-game that you can't skip, or you have to redo the same puzzles, especially the arm puzzle, because that one you'll have to do at least a minimum of 3 times if you do everything on the first try, because you need to get all the dresses. And in order to get the dresses, you need to go to the slum, and you need to be picked by the Dawn. So you need to get Cloud's 3 dresses, Aerith's 3 dresses, and Tifa's 3 dresses. It sucks. Was it worth it? No. Do I really care? No, I'm just glad I did it because it's Final Fantasy. So when I jump into the next game, I have a perfect file that I can just run into, because I'm still hoping that with the sequel one, that you'll be able to take that save and throw it forward. And this is where, as far as the game's concerned, I'm going into spoilers. So if you have not played it or you wish to, spoilers, skip. I'll put a time code at the bottom here, informing you of where to jump to, because if you want to play it, nobody should hear these spoilers. When it comes to the initial changes to Final Fantasy VII, I really don't have a problem with them. As they are planning on obviously expanding everything out, that isn't my issue. My issue with that ending is only if the magical MacGuffin ghosts disappear. If they are there for no other reason than to just be like, this is what you're expecting, but here's how we're going to change things, I'm cool with it. There's a lot of ideas or concepts they could go into that wouldn't change the overall story, but would twist the knife harder, which I would be very, very okay with. As I already know this story inside and out, as I've played it on every console it's been released on. Multiple times, I should add. As Final Fantasy VII is a legacy franchise at this point, you got to expect a change. Like, they're not just going to remake the game and then just skip it. But the way they did the ending for Final Fantasy VII, they still could remake this game. So when it comes to the ending of Final Fantasy VII, I'm a bit mixed on it right now. I'm more curious to where they go in the future with it, as if the magical space MacGuffins are just there for the one game and they're gone. They never show up again, and it's just literally to be like, we're going places with this. Hold on to your pants, kiddos. Great. Fantastic. I don't think it's that bad of an idea, because it could open up more doors. They could change the plot a little bit. but not enough where like they derail everything. Everything will still happen. I guarantee those big moments are still going to happen in the game, but the beats to get there might be a little different than what we remember. As you all remember, when the Sector 7 roof caved in, Biggs, Jess, and Wedge are still alive. Where in the original game, they're dead. They are just absolutely dead. I actually don't mind that, especially Jessie, because she's a fantastic character, and she wants to be like Goku, and she needs to ride a cloud, which is great. Good for her. I hope she gets her goal one day. But they could change everything up, so they could even make it where, say, I don't know, maybe Sid joins earlier, or something of that nature, which would be kind of neat to just give the same story, because, like, Sid has this big punctuation point of, like, he's my favorite character, but he is more of a, like, the general hatred of Shinra outside of major cities, and how they just kind of muck everything up that they dip their hands into. So I kind of am hoping that we do get Sid sooner than later, but we'll have to see how the games play out. And for major spoilers, I am kind of hoping Zack is still alive, because if he's alive, I could even get a remake of Crisis Core, because the way this game ends, anything's possible. As if they do it the way I think they're going to do it, it's more of a compliment piece to this game. It doesn't even feel like they're trying to rewrite it. It just feels like they're trying to complement what was already there so far. Now, they could still muck this up. They can muck this up hard, and the whole thing crashes and burns. I don't think they're going to. At the time of this recording, I feel like it may have just been a way to give a shock to the system, get people to talk about it, get a little angry about it, and then come back down. As I think right where they're sitting after one game, it could either go amazing or this could go really south. We'll have to see. Now, clearly, I love Final Fantasy VII. This toy is actually, like, several years old at this point. I got lucky one day, and there was a toy store, it was in the Mississauga Square One Mall, where they used to sell plushies and bears and figures of mostly anime stuff. And they were shutting down because no one in his family wanted to run it. And I got really lucky because this was like a $200 figure. I think maybe $150, but I remember getting it for like $65. And it came with a bike and Cloud. I was a little sad. I wish I picked up Zack, because I always remember they had Zack. I would have loved to have the two of them, but I was probably just broke at the time and could only afford the one. Now, if you guys are wondering where this came from, this is actually a Southeast Asian release of Final Fantasy VII and VIII, where they just took the games, slammed them onto one cartridge, and released them. It's a great physical copy. I'm glad to have it to my collection. But yeah, not the hardest thing. It's just a quick import job, if you guys were wondering. Now, I love this franchise. The Final Fantasy VII franchise is the game that got me into RPGs in general. I remember it was my 10th birthday, and I walked into an EB Games, and I walked up to the counter as a 10-year-old and just went, I got a PlayStation. What should I get for it? And the guy working behind the counter literally just reached down, looked at me, and gave me this. And then said, you need to play this game. It's so good, to a 10-year-old. I'm not saying that's the best idea, because a 10-year-old me didn't like this game initially. I liked it a little while later. I think after I bought it, I hated it initially. And then I liked it probably 6 months later when I had a friend show me how to play it properly. And then I started to like it, and then I dove into the RPGs. Absolutely adore the franchise. It even had that lovely, terrible movie. This movie got issues. This is the Blu-ray in particular, so it's really weird and hard to describe, but you can clearly tell that they were just kind of patching the original movie, because the original movie had so many problems to begin with. So as you're watching the movie, you're jumping between renders that were like 2 or 3 years old, so like from 2005, and then re-rendering it with stuff from like, I think this was done in like 07 or 08. And the jump back and forth is really jarring, especially in the detail department, because they got better at putting like dirt on like Reno and Rude's clothing, so like it was more prominent in the new scenes than it was in the old scenes. So it's this kind of hack job of a movie. I mean, this version is a lot better to watch. If you're going to watch it, watch this version. It actually makes more sense. But the movie doesn't really make sense to begin with. But it's still a fun time. Alright, guys, that's where I'm going to leave Final Fantasy VII for today. So hope you enjoyed it. So take care. Have a good one.